Are you one of those people who really have a desire to move abroad and start a new life overseas? Well, we know exactly how you feel. We've been in Thailand for 11 months so far and really love it. In this video, we're going to cover the 4 do's and the 4 don'ts of moving abroad and starting a new life. We are Kendra and David, an American couple who sold everything to travel the world and experience all it has to offer. The pandemic left us stranded in Thailand, but our journey is far from over. So please be sure to subscribe to the channel to follow us throughout Thailand and throughout the world. Each new episode will help you imagine, plan, and live your travel dreams. So let's get started.
The first thing to do is imagine your life in another country, living abroad by doing the research, finding the data, and considering the budgeting. The world is huge and there are many countries to consider. So finding the place for you is very important. Choose your top 3 places to consider and start doing the research and find the place that best suit this stage of your life.
We recommend resources like Airbnb, Facebook Marketplace, and Facebook groups to do this type of research on your top 3 target countries. So you're just imagining yourself, could me and my family live in a place like this? Would I be happy here? And this way you're able to imagine yourself living in a foreign country with actual pictures that represent that country. It's not some abstract thing. It's solid. You could rent this place. You could live here. And you know how much it costs. Also, search for Facebook groups for expats, for locals, and for events and activities. These Facebook groups offer a lot of information, including restaurants to explore and fun activities to try to help you find community when you move abroad. I recommend you save the links to your favorite restaurants and your favorite activities on a spreadsheet, and this spreadsheet will help you visualize your budget abroad and help you visualize your future social life abroad as well. And also look up the immigration rules and visa applications that you would need to live in your target country long term. Have all of those on different spreadsheets, meaning I'll have one page for each different country that I'm interested in moving to. Having it all written out so clear makes it easier to make a decision about which country you want to visit first, and it will help you knock countries off your list that may not suit your particular interests when you see it all written out. Once you start picking out places you could live in, different activities and classes you want to take, you're going to get so excited about moving that it's going to be easy to take the next step. And that is to make the decision to move and to just set a date and exit. Making this decision is not something you can be wishy-washy about. You're gonna make dramatic changes in your life. So you really need to be strong with yourself and say that once I take these steps, I have to move forward.
So Kendra and I recommend that you take 6 months to a year to make the necessary adjustments that you're going to need to make. The decision is a big step and it shouldn't be taken lightly. That's why we emphasize it so much. But really take this seriously because that time is very critical. And that time also goes by really fast once that final decision to leave your country and go abroad is finally made.
All right, do number 3 is get your money right. So this do is probably the biggest, most important one, the one everybody is interested in. So the first thing you have to do is save. You already imagined and created a budget for your dream life in another country. So we recommend saving 6 months worth of expenses. So if your budget was $2,000 a month, you would save up $12,000. Next thing, downsize everything. So this means sell all furniture, appliances, cars, and houses. Now, people have a hard time with this one because they want to hold on to cars, they want to hold on to their houses, they think it's better to rent them out for whatever reason. But if your goal is to start a new life, start it fresh. You do not want to have phone calls about cars that don't start and cars that got wrecked. You don't want to get phone calls about tenants that don't pay their rent or tenants that tore up your property. We're starting fresh. Leave it all behind. I'd say the only exception to this is if real estate is your business. If you own multiple rental properties that bring income to you and support you, and that's your main job, obviously, don't sell your rental property. Continue your business, have a professional manager. And the thing is, if you have multiple properties, that means even if one tenant is bad, you have other tenants to support you. But if you only have one property, all your eggs are in one basket. One bad tenant could ruin your life, literally. So don't allow yourself to be subject to one bad tenant. Go ahead, sell, and start your life somewhere else.
I was a real estate professional myself, and Kendra had experience being a real estate professional also. So that means that we're not just giving you some advice here, we're also telling you from a profession we both worked in. And I also want to say this, and that is, I want you to really consider, if you only have one property and that property is paid off and you're doing something, as we have some friends who were in that situation also, they found it to be a nightmare to leave that property behind because people don't take care of the property the way that you would. And because of that, they've had a lot of stressful situations. And because they're abroad, they're so far away from the situation, they're so far removed from it, that trouble can really be stressful.
The next part of getting your money right is creating income. And you can create income in two ways. You can find a job abroad, or you can try to figure out how to make money online with a variety of options. I dare say finding a job is difficult but easier than creating your own income online. So if you want to go that route, go ahead and start applying for things. Each country has a different way of writing their resumes and presenting themselves to employers. So you have to research how to present your resume and how to present yourself to people abroad.
I also want to add that some of you are in technical professions already, and those professions are much needed in the world. Like if you're a physician, or if you're a nurse, or if you're an engineer, or if you're a data specialist. If you go on LinkedIn, you'll be able to find who is looking for these types of professionals, and you'll be able to see what the competitive pay rates are and things like this, and who you should apply to. So all of these things, you could actually be sitting on a gold mine with your own talent in another country already. And also consider this. Many of these countries have a lack in your specific field. So many of these countries will actually help you get visas and things like of this nature so that you can stay longer in their country. Whereas someone like us, we have to actively participate in programs to actually get those visas to stay in a foreign country. There's so many different options, but those options are available to you. That's why that 6 months to a year to really search and do your research and ask the right questions come into play.
If you're more independent and want to create income online, there's also so many options for that. There's things called Upwork, where you can be a freelancer. You can do things as simply as doing customer service for people. You can be a virtual assistant. Or if you have more technical skills, you can do things like building websites, doing copywriting, which is advertising. There's all different options of things that you can do. So I would go to websites like Fiverr, go to Upwork, and see the different categories of jobs that they have, and try to see which category would you want to put yourself in. What really worked well for me is creating a course on Udemy, teaching English, and that's created stable income for us. I created the course way back in 2016, and I still get regular royalties from that. We're also trying YouTube, as you can see, and blogging, but both of these are very challenging and kind of hard to build an income on that. So the learning curve is quite steep, but if it's something you're passionate about, why not live your dream and try it?
The fourth thing we want you to do is to pack light. Here's the deal. Kendra and I used to have a 4-bedroom house, fully furnished. We sold the house and we sold everything in it. So why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because many people are accustomed to their lifestyle and they want to take their lifestyle with them everywhere they go. That's very expensive to do. and it's very wasteful because every country, their lifestyles are different. Every place you go, their lifestyle is different. Your furniture may not fit everywhere you want to go in this world. So I want you to have the idea that you're willing to do like Maria Kondo says, let these things go. They were good to you while you needed them, and now it's time to release them with happiness and joy in your heart and move on with your life. When you get on that airplane, you do not want to take a sofa with you.
No.
As a matter of fact, they won't let you on board with the airplane with your furniture that your grandma gave you, okay? So I want you to really think about this. Trying to carry your lifestyle and everything with you around the world is super difficult, very expensive, and really unnecessary. Honestly, most of the things that I brought with me on my trip, I could have bought them abroad. I didn't really need to bring anything. Everything is online now. Anything that you want pretty much in the world, you can find it online or in one of these stores available. These places have everything that every other country has. It might be under a different name, but they still have it.
Right. So like if you buy things on Amazon, you're going to have to find a different version of Amazon wherever you go. But these things still exist. So don't worry about bringing so much. Plus, we recommend packing light so that you can try multiple cities and multiple countries. We don't think it's a good idea to move one house to another country. Instead, we think you should try different flavors in the country. You don't know as much about this foreign country as you think you do. It doesn't matter how many videos you watch, how many blogs you read. When you get to that country, when you live there and you feel it, it's going to feel completely different to you than you imagine. So you want to allow yourself the time to experience what it's like and decide whether you want to commit to that. It's like you don't move in with people after your first date, do you? So why would you move into a city? Why would you move into a country after your first date? Date around a little bit before you decide to marry a city, before you decide to marry a country.
I really think this is important because one of the first countries that Kendra and I visited when we left permanently, we left the United States permanently, we went to Bali. And Bali is amazing in its own right. And so many articles and so many blogs and so many YouTube videos we watched. And we went around Bali and we really enjoyed ourselves. But we both came away with the same vibe saying, this is not the best place for us to live though. The expense level of it was nice. We could have adequately lived there. But so many people told us that's going to be a perfect place for you guys to go and be and live. But once we got there, it didn't match our energy. And that was the thing. So I really encourage you to go to different places and see for yourself. Right now, we're in Thailand, and being in Thailand is beautiful and wonderful, and we've always loved it. It was one of our top three, but we also wanted to go around in different cities because Bangkok and Krabi and Phuket and Chiang Mai and Chiang Rai, they're all different. They all have different activities. They all have different energy. And this is a good thing because that means that there are different types of people and they have different interests. And that's good. Yours doesn't have to be the same as mine. But I want you to really explore and see for yourself what fits your vibe, your energy. And then that way you're making a really, really good conscious choice for your life and in the stage of life that you're in.
Now, time for the don'ts. All right, the first don't is do not ask friends and family if you should move abroad, especially if they never moved abroad. You don't want any advice from people who have no experience doing this, because all they're going to do is they're going to feed you their fears and try to scare you. So if people try to feed you their fears, just tell them, I don't have the same fears as you. And that typically shuts them up really quickly. They'll get defensive at first and they'll say, I'm not afraid. And then they'll be quiet because they'll realize that they really are terrified and they don't have any good advice to give you. So I tend to keep these big moves like this to myself because I know most people won't understand. They don't have the same desire. It's unique that you have this curiosity that you want to explore abroad. So keep it to yourself. Only share it with people who have experience so you can maintain positivity and good energy, because it takes a lot of energy to make such a big change, and you don't want to bring yourself down before you finish your move. Our second don't is don't be rash. Don't quit your job tomorrow. You want to do this responsibly. This is why we insist 6 months to a year minimum, putting things in motion, saving and preparing. Because we want you to be successful. We don't want you to have to come back. But that goes into our next don't. Don't be scared. Be excited. And what I mean by this is you're making a very big change in your life, but in a certain way, it's not as risky as you think it is. Think of the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario is that you run out of savings, you can't make an income online, you can't find a job. If these are the case, what would you do? You would move back home and get a job. And in the grand scheme of things, is that really that bad? I mean, you probably have a job now in your home country. So you would just go back to what you were doing before. No big deal. So when you think of it that way, it's really not that scary. You can do this. You can get excited about this. You've already made a thorough plan. You imagined, you dreamed this. Get excited. It's not that risky, really.
For me, the way I approach things, when I'm approaching something new, I don't want to approach that new thing that I'm excited about with a fear like energy. I want to move into a new space with fear, because that fear tends to control and add pressure and add stress. And so I like to move into a new space with an excitement, a new adventure, a new energy, a new thriving. Like Kendra was saying before, we have met so many other people like us since we went on this journey. This journey for us, when we first started it, we didn't really know what it was going to be like. We were just like, okay, we're just on a plane, But the exciting thing is, here's what happens. When you take a step like this, your whole world fills up with other people like yourselves. And now you're getting more advice from other people like yourself, more people who've been more places and seeing new things, and they're sharing that with you. And so now we're in a travel community with people who are from all over the world. These are regular people living their lives abroad and living the best life that they can find out there. And it's amazing how welcoming they are and how much they share with you. And so, you're on a journey, but you don't want to move into that journey with fear. But I want you to go into your adventure with a newfound sense of hope and not fear.
Mm-hmm. And the fourth don't leave errands for yourself in your home country. We kind of talked about this before, but you don't want to leave furniture behind. Try to not have a storage unit if you can, like photographs, scrapbooks. See if you can digitize them. Have online storage for them, but try not to bring them with you. Or if you must have a storage unit, do that. But you'll probably find that you'll come back years later and just throw everything away and digitize it, like I said earlier. Now, we do believe houses are great investments. We are so excited that we had a house and it gave us the savings to travel. But you do not have to own a house every year of your life. Balance is good, and renting offers so many wonderful benefits. So just rent until you find the place that you love, until you find that place you want to marry, and you found your forever home. Then and only then should you think about buying property, buying furniture, and settling down in a foreign country. Well, now that you've heard the 4 do's and don'ts, how are you going to apply these tips in your life? We're curious to know, so tell us in the comments below. So, if you get some value out of these tips, please give the video a thumbs up because it really helps other people on YouTube find the video and know that it's worth watching. Also, we'll be coming out with more videos about how to plan your life abroad, so make sure to subscribe to the channel for even more tips on that. If you want to see more about how we got started traveling full-time, you can check that out at the video right there on the right. As always though, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for sharing with your travel buddies and inspiring other people to try a move abroad. And take care till next time. Bye guys!